It's interesting. Not that I'm going to ever buy it and or play it, because I hate NIL, name, image, and likeness, and branding and all that crap. I still play 14 because you don't have to deal with all that bullshit. You know. And yes, Mrs. Adams. But so nah, I wouldn't want to. But the thing, I was looking at the generic stadiums for Create a Team, and it looks like they've got um, well, one of them is Hawaii Stadium. It said generic Hawaii Stadium is generic. Where is it here? Where's the kiddo who he put these up? He has the pan view of all the. It says, yeah, Team Builder uses generic Stadium 4. The stadium is not Hawaii Stadium. It's just made to look like it. Because, there's no palm trees, is there? I don't know if there is or not. I don't think there is. But it's made to look like, so he says, okay, so this is actually not Hawaii Stadium. It's generic Stadium 4. But okay, so that's interesting. And then they have generic stadium. Hold up, going through this all real quick. They have the high school stadium. That's generic stadium 4. But okay, this is a different one. Generic stadium 4 is that big Madden one, and then they have 1, 2, and 3, and then the high school stadium. And you're like, oh, that's kind of lame. You guys think you could have given people more choices? Like I told them back during when they did 2014, that if you're going to say it holds for 20,000, make sure that the stands reflect 20,000. So you could have the high school stadiums be high school stadiums, but then you could also take the same scenery and put in a 20,000 seat bleachers, for smaller for colleges, so you could incorporate them into your into the football game. Right? And so I was like, why didn't they do that? Because they're, is being lazy? No, not really, because it'd be real easy to do. Okay, it's almost like cut, copy, paste, stuff. So it'd be real easy to just take the background and then just add in more bleachers. Okay, it would have been real simple to do back in 2014, just like they can do now. And then they also, should have like a Tacoma Dome type dome option, one that looks similar to the Alaris Center, and then one looks similar to the Fargo Dome. Not just like them, but in similar specs. Because that's the type of team that a lot of people want to create. Is North Dakota State. And the Tacoma Dome would be bigger, about 20,000, but that's very similar to the way that the Sky Dome looks, and the Dakota Dome in Vermilion in South Dakota and stuff. So you should put in 3 small dome options and make sure that the weather works accordingly. Right? They should do that. And then if you wanted to put a team in Alaska, you could take the one that looks like either the Laris Center or the Fargo Dome and make it the Alaska Dome there, Anchorage, right? Because if you're going to put a team in Alaska, you would want a dome stadium, right? So it only makes sense. There's Appalachian States. It's very pretty. It's a little stadium. It's in a pretty setting, isn't it? Yeah, it is. It's in a lovely setting there in Boone, North Carolina. So, but but then you should take like the art scenery that they had from the ones in 2014, have a more of a desert looking scene, a more of a plains looking scene, a more of a of a woodland scene. Like if you wanted to make Humboldt State, you'd need something with big trees and big redwoods and stuff. So you'd need something, but with the 20,000 seat things, maybe with the cover like you had on the South one and stuff. So they could just put in different generic options for the kiddos to enjoy it. But I think if you make it too good, people aren't as apt to buy the next installment. But that's not true, because they're always going to want the new installment and the new roster and the new roster with all the kids on it, and they're going to want the new uniforms if they have those or whatever. But so whatever. But so, but if you make it too customizable, it doesn't have replay value, and that's not necessarily the case. No, they're going to want new rosters. They're going to want to do that. People that are going to buy the game and like the game, they're going to buy the game. But if you're going to do it, why half-ass it? Do it right. Don't be selfish, stupid, and lazy. Get somebody that will do it. And as I still don't understand why they don't have Hawaii's. Why don't they have somebody just get a drone camera and go, and there's Hawaii's and pow. And that drove me nuts with some of the other ones. Like they didn't have in 14, they had a UMass in there for years and had that goofy generic stadium, and they had a UAB had the goofy generic stadium, so it's the same stadium. It's like just go get somebody, put the thing up, and do it. Right? It'd be real easy, especially with the technology we have today. With the technology we have today, as opposed to 2014, to make sure that you have more options for your creative two stadiums, or that you have the specs and the stuff. Just put up a drone, pan it real quick, put it into the computer, do out the artwork real quick. Go for, if they can make cartoon emoji use and shit like that, they can get somebody, put a drone up in the middle of the stadium, have it pan, send it into EA Sports, and bam, there it is. It's not hard, right? It's just being just damn lazy. You can get somebody to do it somewhere. There's a tech geek in every town, right, that will do it. There's a tech geek that's a fan at NAU. There's a tech geek that's a fan in Missoula. There's a tech geek, wherever you need it done, right? Put your drone up, pan it, there it is. They probably have it on all their school websites anyway. Okay. Some tech geek already did it probably in the, so you sit there, you'd be looking at this stuff and you wonder, why, why so serious? Why so lazy? Why not get it all done right? If you're going to do something for people and say you're going to give them a certain product and that you have access to it, unless there's copyright things, which I don't think you have on any of them, put them all in there. So it's interesting. But I'm looking at all the pan things. They're doing Baylor right now. They just did Ball State. But yeah, if you're gonna put generic creative team stadiums, make sure that you have different landscapes. Like you have a mountain scenery, like we had in 2012, man. You had the mountains with the two bleachers. You had the campus. You had the rural. You had the city. And then you had the bowl. And then you had the dome. And you always, I don't know why they always have the weather thing within the dome. Like when James was playing Wichita State and it was raining inside the dome. And I've had that with Alaska. Every time I make one in Alaska and I put the Kibbe Dome up in Alaska, it's always freezing. We never get snow, but it's always freezing, and everybody's freezing their ass off in the dome. It's like, you can't afford to pay the heating bill there. But I thought there was lots of oil and stuff in Alaska. You think we'd have enough fossil fuels to keep the dome warm, right? Yeah, okay. It's not. It's just a glitch in the thing. They did the same thing. It was in 2012. It was like that. If you built an Alaska team with the generic dome, it would get cold or rainy or whatever stuff, or snowy in there. Sometimes it was snow in the dome. It's like, you'd think they would be able to sit there and go, okay, this is like the Kibbe Dome. This is like the Carrio Dome. And in the Carrio Dome and in the Kibbe Dome, it don't rain and or snow, right? That's what it's there for, to keep the rain and the snow off of the patrons and the fans, so the kids don't catch pneumonia at the football game. There you go. Okay. So do you understand? And me, football's way better when you're living the applied physics of the Lord's Prayer. And people at universities should understand that. Forgive debt and trespass, love one, eternal faithful peace, right? Then you don't have to beat each other up to try to win a game to pay your bills to live here, because bills aren't real, but life is. I'm the way, the truth, and life. Makes sense, doesn't it? Wow. I dropped out of school because they're insane, not because I'm not intelligent. Okay, guys? I love you. I'm not a video game developer. I'm an intelligent human being trying to help people develop themselves into rational, compassionate human beings that still enjoy football, like going to the stadium, like the little things, like expressing themselves culturally, representing the community, but living the Lord's Prayer and applying it in physics first, okay? But that's just my perception on generic creative teams, stadiums for in college football 2026. Take it or leave it. I think I have a bigger influence on quantum computing technology than anybody else in the world. It's in the game. There is no game. Nah, it's just life. And if You turn it into a game, it's not real. I like games. Okay. They're just not based on reality. Okay. It's exercise to be healthy. You guys beat each other up and hurt each other over money. And then compete. It sucks because all the mid-major teams are all junior colleges now that are bottom feeders that provide the next tier of talent for the corporate shithead teams. Yeah, sucks. It does. So if you're like a Central Michigan or New Mexico State, you get the player for 1, maybe 2 years before Texas gobbles them up and makes them into their all-conference, all-pro wide receiver. That sucks. Of course it does. But what do I know? I dropped out of college. Okay.